Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Game Changer Mentality Podcast. I am your host, Rodney Flowers, bestselling author, keynote speaker, and resilience trainer. And as always, I am excited for another episode today. All right. And I want to thank you, my followers, those that have been listening to us. We want to thank you guys for joining us again on another show. Thank you so much for being here. And if you are new, this is your first time listening in, hey, we want to thank you as well. We realize that you have other podcasts and other things actually that you could be doing right now, but you have decided to join us. And so we sincerely thank you for joining us here today. I have a wonderful guest with me that's joining me today, Miss Terry Wildemann. Did I say that right, Terry?
You did, Wildemann.
Wildemann,
Absolutely.
Terry. Thank you. Terry Wildemann is here in the studio with me today. And this woman is amazing. She is amazing. She owns her own consulting business called Intuitive Leadership. She's a high performance and business accelerator coach. She's also a speaker, a best-selling author, and she works with socially conscious CEOs, small business owners, and leaders to take their business to the next level. So if you are one of those people, listen up, because this woman is going to show you how to go to the next level with speed, calm, ease, and flow. And that is interesting right in and of itself. She has 40 years of business and leadership experience, owning a manufacturing company, image consulting company, and a leadership and holistic education center. This woman has done it all, ladies and gentlemen. So without further ado, I want to welcome Miss Terry Wildemann to the Game Changer Mentality Podcast. Welcome to the show, Terry.
Thank you so much, Rodney. That was one heck of an intro. Can I put you in my back pocket and take that was brilliant.
Hey, this is Game Changer Mentality. This is how we do it over here. All right. So how you doing? What's going on in your world? How are things going?
I'm doing great. It's, life is flowing. Lots of surprises when you least expect it, which is a lot of fun. I have the perspective of when I wake up, it's like, okay, let the miracles begin and let's see what happens. So it's just a lot of fun to see where life takes you. It's not always where you think it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm sure a lot of the listeners have experienced the not so good parts of it. And I'm sure you have too with some of the companies and business people that you've worked with in the past. So tell us about that. What are some of the common issues that you see with leaders, and business owners? How do they handle those moments where life isn't so good?
Well, your show is called The Game Changer. And what the question you just asked me about is actually mindset. Okay. And here's the deal with mindset and changing the game. You have a choice to look at the challenges that are in front of you. And the choices are to look at them as a really negative thing or to look at them as opportunity. I choose to look at it as opportunity, because what I found is when I look at the situations, and this is how I work with my clients, I get them to look at things that aren't working right as opportunities. And the reason is something is telling you that it's not right. Take a step back, look at the big picture, look at the entire 360 perspective. Go at 30,000 feet and then go back at sea level and look at everything from all directions. And if it's still hard, take a step back, go take a walk, go grab some lunch, go grab some dinner, go do something else to just click your brain out of that negative, 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 and get into the opportunity mode. Did that answer your question?
No, absolutely. And I actually teach that. I mean, you've put a lot into that answer to the question, because what I'm hearing is obviously to get present to, it's not just a challenge. I mean, yeah, it is a challenge,
Yes.
but there could be more that's meeting the eye. We may not be seeing the big picture, the opportunities. I love talking about positive potentials. You
Yes.
started answering the question with, there's a positive outcome, and perhaps there is a negative outcome, and you're feeling that negative outcome. But I like to look at these situations and see what's positive about it. Harvest the good about it. You mean, with my injury that I've suffered, and basically all of the challenges and obstacles that I've experienced in my life, I like to look at the positive potentials out of it. And I call them my PPs, right? What are my positive potentials, my positive possibilities? And so when you're in that place, those positive potentials, those positive possibilities, that's where the opportunity lies.
That's right.
Yeah, that's where the opportunity lies. And so I love that because it gives me, basically opportunity. When
Hmm.
you're in that place, because that's what happens when we're in a place of struggle. It seems like our hope is lost. It seems like we don't have the opportunity that we really want. And I love those situations because it may not go the way you actually want it to go. It may not
Sometimes
be
the detours are much better than where you want to
exactly.
go. The
Yeah.
detours have so much potency to them. And the thing that a lot of us forget is that something may be hard and challenging. What is the learning there? That learning is what will lead us to the opportunities. And I find that because I'm a holistic practitioner, I integrate the practical and the logical with the emotional, the energetic, the spiritual, and the intuitive. And
Okay.
that's what I teach leaders to do, to integrate it all. And when you are integrated and fully present in the moment, and there's a lot of scientific work behind the stuff that I teach. You know, one of the things is when you're fully present in the moment and you're really listening with your eyes, your ears, your heart, your soul, your mind, when you are truly listening with your body and you are integrated in a way where you get the information that you need to get to the next step. But we live from here up.
Yeah.
So when we live from here up inside the brain, we allow our mind to control everything and we disconnect from our heart. Dangerous thing to do. Dangerous thing to do. So that old adage of leave your emotions at the door, so wrong. So absolutely wrong, because our behaviors are driven by our emotions. Even the most practical person who says to me, oh, emotions, no, I'd make every single decision on the practical and logical. That's an emotion.
And it's
So
and it's really dangerous, especially
it
when you're
is.
in a place where you want to change your life, you want to transform, but you're kind of programmed into this way of living and being.
Yes.
And it's hard for those type of people when they're in that place to come out of that. They kind of stay in that and then they get into this do loop. Because I mean, let's face it, that's a habitual way of being, right? Whenever you're
Yeah.
living that way, and you're not open, you're not even listening to, what your heart and your emotions are saying relative to the challenges and obstacles that you're going through. Go ahead.
Well, what I add to people though is bring your emotions with you, but
Okay.
leave your drama at the door.
I love that.
Leave the drama at the door. Nobody needs the drama. Nobody needs to hear
But
about
let's
all
let,
that
let's
stuff.
let's be real with that though, because that's a little difficult for some people, right? Because let's face it, some of these challenges and obstacles can be very debilitating.
Yes.
All right. And so some
Yes.
people wake up with this stuff every single day. And so
Right.
I want to impact those people. I want to speak to those people as well. When it seems like they've been in this forever, they can't get out of it. And then you're saying, well, I just need to leave my emotions at the door. They may come back and say, Rodney, that's BS. But let's make this practical for them. So what is your response to that?
Well, what I'm going to say is bring your emotions with you. You never leave your emotions at the door. You always bring your emotions with you. Always. You leave the drama at the door. That's a whole different concept.
I misspoke. I stand
It,
corrected. I misspoke. But
yeah.
someone may say, just leave my drama at the door.
Yeah.
It's as easy as, just changing my emotions, right? And
Well,
so what
you
is your
can
thought
leave
to
the
that?
drama at the door. And I'm going to share with you a wonderful, I'm going to
Okay.
share with you an example of what I'm talking about. Okay. And how leaving your drama at the door can actually help you shift. And I'm going to talk about health. Okay. We're going to get into health for a moment. Because
Sure.
let's say that if you're an entrepreneur, career person, whatever, without your health, you have nothing. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. So, in my 20s and 30s, I was really sick with all kinds of issues. And I mean, really, really sick. And I had allergies and you name it, migraines, on and on and on and on and on. Now, what was interesting is I come from a family of doctors, and my family of doctors is constantly focusing on what's wrong with you, what's wrong with you, what's wrong with you, what's wrong with you. They'll be the first ones to give a prescription, do this, that. Oh my God, that's what I grew up with. Okay. And then I realized that when I started learning about the law of attraction 2 decades ago, I realized that I spend an awful lot of time talking about ill health. I spent an awful lot of time telling the whole world what was wrong with me. Okay. And what I realized was, who the heck really wants to hear that stuff? Who wants to hear that stuff? Who wants to hear the drama of my physical health? And I shut it down, bam. I shut it down so fast. And I stopped talking about ill health. And I started focusing on what I wanted, which was fantastic health. I want to be healthy. I want to be vibrant. I really want to be able to live into my 60s, 70s, 80s with wonderful health. And that's what I chose to do. That's what I chose to focus on. So if there's any drama, it's the drama about I watch what I eat, I watch what I drink, I watch what I put in my body, I take care of myself. I don't talk about it with the whole world. It's my personal private business. And today, at my age, and yes, I'm in my 60s, I'm the healthiest I've ever been in my entire life
Wow.
because I changed my drama perspective.
Oh, congratulations to that. I love
Okay.
that
You
story.
see where I'm
Yeah.
going?
No, I do. And that's what happens when we are in those situations. We tend to just keep talking about it. Oh, life sucks. You find those people that just live from Monday to Friday, and they just complain all the way from
Yeah,
Monday and all the way to Friday, right?
that's
You
exactly
know?
right.
Yeah. And so you don't really give yourself the opportunity to look forward to something different because you're always looking
Mhm.
forward to what you don't want.
Yeah, and if how sad is it? And I have to say this because I have several clients who have been in this boat. How sad it is it when you go to a job and all you're waiting for is the weekend. All you're waiting for is the weekend. You lose sight, you're miserable when you're driving in the car. You're miserable when you wake up. You're miserable choosing what it is you have to wear. You're driving into the car talking about how you have to deal with everybody. You're not eating right. You're working constantly, and all you're thinking about is how you dislike the boss, you dislike your coworkers. You get back in the car, you go home, and the whole thing starts all over again. And it's the weekend. You do what you want to do on the weekend, and Sunday night, oh gosh, I got to go
Do it
and
all over again.
and do it all over again. That is such a poor way to live. And it makes me sad when people go to are in that place because they believe that they don't have the power to make a change, and they do. And they're all different levels that they can make changes in, from the perspective when they first wake up in the morning, to the perspective of their employees and their bosses and coworkers, to the perspective of the drive into work, to the perspective of um, feeling stuck and shifting how you choose to feel stuck. One of the things about being stuck is oftentimes we are the ones who chain ourselves to that stuck place.
Hmm.
We have energy, we have power, we have opportunity, but it's our choice whether we choose to take it or not.
Yeah, sometimes being stuck is a mentality. It's a
Oh, yeah,
mindset. You know,
absolutely.
actually, oftentimes it's a mindset. It's a mentality. You
Mhm.
haven't awakened to the opportunities that are right in front of you. And when you find opportunities, you're not resilient enough to take those opportunities. Soon as something happens
Yeah,
that make it appear that it's not going to work or it's not going to work out for you, you shut it down and you go back to what's convenient.
yeah.
So
Well, I have to add something to that, though, Rodney, and that is those patterns
sure.
are often installed in, and listen to my words, installed in us at a very young age, under the age of 5. And what happens is they're what we call self-sabotaging emotions that are hidden. These are hidden emotions that different events that happen under the age of 5 and under the age of 10 literally trigger us and live with us our entire adult life. And once we get rid of those hidden emotions and those self-sabotaging emotions, it gives us such freedom and such light to be able to then move into where it is we want to go. So sometimes there are reasons why we keep repeating the pattern over and over again. And they're often trapped emotions from when we were kids.
So let's talk about that because maybe that's
Okay.
bringing up some emotions. Maybe that's bringing up some past experiences for some people. Maybe some people are
Mhm.
right there, exactly where you're explaining. And so, how do we turn the curve? How do we begin to change that, to deprogram what's there and then create some new patterns?
Brilliant. Great question. Well, there is a term called energy psychology. Okay, energy psychology is being able to work not just with the emotions, but the energy behind the emotions. And you have some wonderful tools that are that for the one I like to use. There's a couple that I really, really like to use. And one of them is the emotional freedom technique, which is also called EFT, and it's called tapping. And what it does, it works with the same points that we use in acupuncture, okay? And it goes inside the eye, you tap outside the eye, under the nose, under the chin right here on the collarbone. And if you touch this area here, you'll feel sore spots. Okay, and if you touch under the arm, where close to where there's underneath the woman's bra strap, our sides can be sore. And a lot of our men and women coming back from our military men and women actually come back with very sore sides because we hold a lot of our emotions here. So what happens is there are different techniques. You can look this up online, okay? On EFT, there's a lot of videos of a lot of, there are many tapping and emotional freedom technique professionals right on YouTube that can walk you through these techniques of releasing a lot of these emotions. And there's usually 3 rounds. The first one focuses on the negative emotion. The second round focuses on the negative emotion, the emotion that you want. And the third round focuses on what you want. And it releases the energy levels of those emotions way, way, way down. So that's one of the tools that I work with. The other one is one that I call emotional release technique, where I use a form of kinesiology, and I can tap in, and also highly intuitive through our discussion. I can zero in on the emotions that are in the way, and I can clear them out using several clearing techniques that I use. And what I have learned is that once we begin to release a lot of these trapped and hidden emotions, people's resilience and health tends to escalate
Mm.
in a good way, which is a wonderful thing. And a lot of times we're not really even sure why it is that these specific things are happening. But I actually, because I'm a businesswoman, I also became a holistic practitioner because I wanted to heal myself. What I do is I work with, I ask my clients, my business people, do you have aches or pains anywhere? And I use where their aches and pains and what their challenges are as a roadmap to guide me. So then, for example, if they have a lot of issues with their throat, this part of the body is about not speaking your truth. So oftentimes I find this can be, if you're an introverted person and you're too scared to share what it is that you really want to share, we can work on that so that you can actually say what you really want to say. If you have challenges with your eyes, it could mean what do you not want to see. If you have challenges with your ears, it could mean what do you not want to hear. If you have challenges with your shoulders, maybe you're carrying too much. If you have challenges with your knees, it's about flexibility and moving forward. Hips are a great one. Hips are about moving forward towards large projects. And let me tell you, when I wrote this book, and I pulled it out on purpose. This was my latest book, The Enchanted Boardroom. 7 months writing the manuscript. My right hip was killing me. My chiropractor's like, I've never seen you with this kind of pain before. MRI, the whole 9 yards. My regular doctor wanted to do a hip replacement. And my chiropractor knows me very well, so I kept telling him, it's just a book. It's just a book. He was like, okay, I got it. My regular doctor thought I was a Looney Tune. And sure enough, a week after I turned in the manuscript, my hip pain disappeared. Imagine if I had let my regular doctor do my hip replacement.
Wow. So what was that? I mean, so you feel that was, can you explain what that
Abject fear.
experience?
It was abject fear.
Can
I
you
was,
explain that a little bit to
sure.
us?
I was petrified of writing this book because this book was my coming out of the spiritual closet, my coming out of the angel closet with business. I work with angels. If you notice in the back of my office, there are angels all over the place. I've been working with angels since I was a very little girl. And I came out of the angel closet in this book, The Enchanted Boardroom, which is evolve into an unstoppable intuitive leader. And in doing that, I have to tell you, I was petrified. When I was writing the paragraph or the chapter on angels in business, I was on my knees in abject fear of how people were going to respond to the book. And I had this image of rotten tomatoes being thrown at me when I would be speaking. And the irony is when I did my very first book signing at the in my local Barnes and Noble, I didn't look through the lens of what the videographer was filming, and I was standing under a sign that said "Rotten Tomatoes." I was like, "Oh, you got to be kidding me!" So Rotten Tomatoes is a good thing, you know. So in the literary world, and it just made me laugh. So all of it, you know, intersecting and coming to fruition. So yes, that was the fear. It was truly, truly in fear of writing this book. And now we're doing the sequel. I have no fear in doing the sequel. I'm over that. But it was interesting how the hip pain just disappeared. My chiropractor just sits there. Like, I've known you for how many years, and it just amazes him. My regular doctor still thinks I'm nutty. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Wow. So is this your first book on
No,
resilience? Okay.
this is my second solo book.
Okay.
And I am a co-author in 6 other books. And the third solo book, which the sequel to The Enchanted Boardroom, will come out in 2019.
Awesome. So you know, you're doing a lot of work in this area, holistic education and high performance business acceleration. And so why is teaching resilience so important to you? Why do you do all this work?
Because I burned out multiple times. And it's not fun. I've been a business owner for a very long time, and I'm all about serving and serving and serving and serving and serving. And what happens is when we serve too much and don't put up boundaries, the people we hurt the most is ourselves. And of course, that trickles down to our families. And I'm really big about entrepreneurs putting up boundaries and recognizing those boundaries. And together, for those I coach, we actually set up their vacation schedule at the very beginning of the year to force them to take vacations throughout the year, because entrepreneurs are famous for not doing that. Because the mind, body, and soul cannot operate well when you are exhausted. And because I was so burned out, I kept doing, it was the same pattern over and over again. I didn't understand what was going on. And that's when I signed on with the Heart Math Institute in 2001 and became a licensed practitioner with them. So they taught me how to connect with my heart and how the emotions are our drivers when it comes to stress management. And when we don't listen to our intuition, when we don't listen to our body, the only person we're hurting is ourselves. That's it. And our fears get in the way. The hip, this was all about fear. Trust me, I know how to heal all this stuff, but I just I was that fearful that I allowed it to control me instead of me controlling it. And that was just a couple of years ago. And I know this stuff inside out. So those of us who teach end up teaching what it is we need to learn for ourselves. So this is a constant daily realignment of myself in order to be able to walk my talk.
Wow, I love that. You know, it's there's not many people out there that do that. You know, so I appreciate you even saying that and levying that responsibility upon yourself, because a lot of us I'm not going to say us, because I like to
take
live
ownership of it, because who am I then to help anybody else if that doesn't happen?
Yeah, I completely agree, 100%. And so, you know, have you found that a lot of stress
Rodney.
Are you still there with me? Hello? I'm still there. Hello?
There you are.
There okay. You
are.
Yeah.
We're having a rainstorm.
Oh, okay.
It about 2 minutes ago, the heavens just opened. So
okay.
I'm sure it has part to do with that.
Okay. All right.
Sorry about that.
No worries. No worries. And so, you know, I've been doing some studying on peak performance, and one of the the hot topics, the main topics of peak performance is the recovery by surprise.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people look for it to be something else, but recovery is one of the most important things when it comes to peak performance. And so I appreciate, you know, listening to the body, taking time to recover and putting it in the schedule up front before you put all the other things that are going to go in it that have to be done. Oh man, that's so critical. So do you find that stress gets in the way of people listening to their intuition?
It's not the stress, because the stress is created by our mindset and emotions. It's our perspective that gets in the way.
Mm.
The go, go, go attitude, the have to attitude, the need to attitude. That's what gets in the way of leading a fulfilling life. And that is what creates the stress.
Ah, very
Okay. So
interesting.
the
Yeah.
perspective, your perspective of what happens creates words and thoughts. And those words and thoughts create your emotions. And those emotions then create your behavior.
So it's like a belief system that's created. A belief system about whatever it is that's happening.
Okay, I just lost what you said, Ronnie. You froze. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm going to give it a minute so they can edit this out. So it's like a belief system. A
Exactly.
belief system. We create a belief system around the things that are, you know, going on in our lives, whether it's going good or
Right,
not.
right, right.
You know, we
Yes.
create these belief systems.
And a great example to teach you, or not to teach you, but to share with the audience on how perspectives operate is, imagine that there are four people, each of them standing on each corner, okay? And there's an accident that happens in the middle of the four of them at an intersection. Each one of them have a different view of the accident and are going to have a different perception of what happened. Okay. Does it mean that one is right and the other one is wrong? No. Does it mean that one is wrong and the other one is right? No. Everybody has a different perspective because of where they're standing, their environment, and their view of what is happening in the middle of that intersection. And it's up to the law enforcement professional or the manager or the leader, okay, if it's team building, to be able to look at all of the perceptions and guide the people to integrate it all to come up with the true story with exactly what happened. Okay. So, Rodney, let me share with you an example of how perception is different for everybody. Okay. Imagine that you are looking down on a street intersection, and you have a person that you know standing on each corner. And as they're standing there, an accident happens in the middle. Each person has a different perception of what happened based on the direction that they're looking, how perceptive they are, how in the moment they are, okay, what they're feeling, seeing, and thinking. So it's up to you as the facilitator, as the police officer, whoever it is, you're at 35,000 feet. It's about getting each of their stories and then putting everything together so you get the actual picture of what happened. Does it mean that one person's story is wrong and the other one person's story is right? Absolutely not. Does it mean that one person's story is right and the other one is wrong? Absolutely not. It's just that based on perceptions and where they're standing, they may see things, hear, or feel differently than you do. And this is what happens on teams. This is what happens in the workplace all the time. And it's based on how we were raised, our different experiences and scenarios, and who it is that we are from the inside out. Okay, so where resilience is concerned, if you lived in a very high stress family, those behaviors are going to follow you. If you lived in a family where things were calm, cool, and collected, you have a choice to take that calm, cool, and collective uh, environment with you. So I lived in an environment where it was very high energy, loud Cuban parents. My father was very loud. My mom was very quiet. And their perception, the way they were raised, is very different than the typical Americans were raised. Okay. So outside of the house, I was a typical American girl. Inside the house, I was a Cuban daughter. Okay. So there were a lot of different scenarios. I carried a lot of that high stress perception because that's what I was raised with. I'm very much my father's daughter, workaholic, on and on and on and on, all that
Hmm.
stuff. I had to learn how to shift my perspective, look at things differently, take control of my health, own my mind, body, and soul in a way that I knew that worked for me outside of the way that I was raised. And it was my choice to do that.
And what are some of the things you did to make that transition?
Learn how to connect with my heart, believe in holistic medicine, which my parents still don't. Okay. Learn how to look at natural things and look at other ways of healing. It's not always the drug. It's not always the Western medicine pop a pill type thing. However, when there's an accident, I'm grateful for the ER. Believe me, this family's had their share of ER visits.
Hmm.
Okay. I am
Sure,
very, very grateful for that.
sure.
I'm not saying poo-pooing Western medicine. That's not where I'm going. What I'm saying is looking at things alternatively. So I'll go to a doctor if I'm not feeling good or whatever, and it's consistent and I can't figure it out for myself. I'll get the diagnosis and then I'll work with it doing my own stuff. But I really don't take drugs because I choose not to, because I know that my emotions actually create a lot of the stuff that happens in my body. So I work with my own way of healing, and I do. Like my hip.
Okay. And so, given that, it seems to me that you're sort of integrating your intuition with resilience. And so,
Absolutely.
why is that important? And how can someone that wants to get involved with that, how do they do that?
Okay. What happens with intuition is we get the messages constantly, but we're too scared to listen to them. We don't trust it. We poo-poo it because when we're little, it was poo-pooed. Have you ever said something to somebody that you just intuitively knew you had to say and they poo-pooed you? So
Yeah,
what happens is you lock it down
yeah.
and you don't listen to it. Okay, so the thing with intuition, some of us see images, some of us hear words, others of us are claircognizant. Okay, which is we just know things, and other of us feel things. Okay, you know how you say, "Oh, I feel it in my gut. My gut tells me I need to do this."
Hmm.
That's intuition.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
and that's accepted in the workplace. However, if you say, imagine sitting in a boardroom and you say, "Yeah, I feel it in my gut. I think that's a great way to go." They'll accept that because that's very common. But if you say, i keep getting image I keep getting images that we should be doing this, 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 and this, people are like, what are you, clairvoyant or something? You see where I'm going?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so but imagine a boardroom where every single person identifies their natural intuitive gifts and integrates it with their practical and logical education, knowledge, and mindset. Okay. And it's all integrated. Imagine how powerful that boardroom would be. And that's what I write about in the Enchanted Boardroom. That's what the
Wow.
Enchanted Boardroom is all about.
Where can people find this book? This sounds like a very interesting book.
Right on Amazon, Amazon.com.
And where can people find if they wanted to work with you, if they wanted to get to learn more about you and what it is that you do, where can they find you?
Intuitiveleadership.com. And thank you for asking.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome. Ladies and just gentlemen, Terry Wildemann here, intuitive coach, high performance business accelerator coach. And thank you for the wealth of knowledge that you've given us here today. I mean, I wish we had more time because I would like to dive into some of this stuff a little bit deeper. But we're running short on time. But I want to thank you for joining us here, being
Thank
here
you so
with us
much.
today. I really appreciate that. And so as we sign off, what are some of the final things that you would like to say to the audience today?
Always listen to your heart. Always listen to your heart. It will not take you down the wrong path. It may be a little scary, but in the end, it's always going to take you where you're meant to be.
Ah, Beautiful. I love that. Terry Wildemann, everyone. And I want to say thank you to the listeners. This has been a wonderful show. Thank you, Terry, for joining us and sharing your
Thank you.
knowledge, sharing your time with us
Thank you.
here today. I really appreciate that. Did you
And
have
thank
something
you
else?
for the invite.
Oh no, it's been an absolute pleasure. Absolutely. So as we sign off, I want to say thank you again for listening, and I want you to remember, as always, greatness is your birthright. Thank you guys for listening to another episode of the Game Changer Mentality podcast.